it's probably 7 or 8 people that you can always email in for specific questions related to orders that you don't see on the portal.
Okay. Once either the inventory is picked up or delivered, what's the turnaround time for it to be received and live?
So our SLA is 24 hours, but it's usually becomes available on the day of. And during the onboarding, you'll meet our intake team. And depending on how well you adhere to our guidelines for labeling and master packs and things like that, they can expedite the check-in automatically. So for the brands that have that completely dialed in, it can be within 2 hours. If not, it can take up to 4 hours.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to kind of flash this delivery territory map. Essentially, this is California, and the dark color regions are pretty much places we go every single day of the week, which means we'll have true kind of 2-day turnaround time. Remote regions like Humboldt and Shasta or Needles will go fewer times a week. But I just wanted to kind of show this. And the red markers are what we can pick up from that information. So I think for Sacramento,
Did you tell them about how we store inventory and manage it across the state now?
Yeah. Okay, the single hub, yeah. That was really cool.
And then for your storage, do you have temp-controlled environments?
Of course. So all our facilities are kept at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and we do have the option of providing freezer or end-to-end freezer transport. So for these more sensitive products like frozen, we have the ability to pick it up frozen, keep it frozen, a little bit frozen, but it comes out of that freezer.
Okay. We do carry frozen products, so that does have to be kept in the very least refrigeration, right? So definitely sensitive to that. Okay. For inventory, for creating the inventory in your system, is that all a manual process, or can we do a one-time upload of some sort?
Currently, we have created all the SKUs on our site using the interface, but as I mentioned earlier, there are companies like use like a lot of work. We don't allow for batching work just yet. Again, there's a lot of validation required to get us that for like that, but it is something that's on our roadmap to request. Generally, the biggest difference in coordination in the first week of onboarding, and after that, it's a lot.
You should be able to batches, but after you meet the initial SKUs, because every SKU batch, or rather every batch has its own SKU. Will you guys be doing your or?
Yes, we will manage all that. And how do you, our packaging currently does not have set barcode. So how do we go about that barcode?
We handle that on our end. So we can provide reference to Airflow Viva for the just required. Yeah. So for those, we already have process child manufacturing stuff and on. It does come out of novel, but it's just hours.
Okay. And does that increase the turnaround time for those orders?
No.
Okay. So it's still need that 2-day turnaround.
Right. I believe for KBM stores, but there are instances where retailer requests that orders be bundled and delivered on a certain date. So you may see us shifting around dates, but only if
So for KDM stores, because it's sent to that be? So we would still have to create orders for the specific store. So currently we do create all the different 20 something orders for the stores, and then we manifest it all to the distro. Is that similar to
yeah. So just to kind of go over how our pricing works real quick. So usually we charge the creator of a shipping percentage for our which is $170 upfront. So for either calculation, we'll say that you create 10%, and you're delivering a $10,000 order, $10,000, but if you're delivering a $1,000 order, you're $70. And each order is also set to charge $5 flat fee plus inside the order. So ADM shipping 20 orders on the same day to the same retailer. We would assess the minimum once, but surcharge for 5 is also important. So like it's assessed, it's 20 orders, 100% sure.
Okay, and then how is that percentage calculated? Is that by sales volume or?
Yeah, so we have our standard pricing, which starts at 11%, and scales down with monthly sales volume. So if at $500,000, or $500,000 a month, it drops to 10%. At $1 million, it drops to 9%. At above $2 million, it drops to 8%. So you guys will certainly qualify for the highest tier for pricing. But when we had our conversation with Sam, it seemed like you guys certainly need special clients, so we sent them to go our
Okay. I mean, we're looking, 4 to 5 million per month in delivery, so that's why that expense, and that is volume that we're looking at in such higher classes, especially when our new growth site comes online in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I was also going to say, given that you're expecting a sharp increase in volume soon, so build in a schedule, so you pass, for example, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million revenues.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Okay. I think that's kind of all my brain can hold right now. And I think what I probably would like at some point maybe a follow-up so I can talk about the information, if that's okay. And then by that time I'll have some more questions as well about like integration, because I know that that's a whole other like industry to address.
For sure. And at any time during the discussion, we're more than happy to do another product demo partnerships to other members of teams, sales reps, ops, whatever. And also, just as our standard process, once the contract is executed, there is a very thorough onboarding period of about 2 weeks where one can be 2.5-hour tutorial to everyone on your side on how to use the site, as well as kind of a more teaching you guys about our process.
Great. Yeah, I would probably like to find that out as much as time to my office and forward rate, and then sales. And work out like only purpose of things that we run across that we process now, and then that way we can kind of figure that all out, finish that out. All right. Yes, I did. I forwarded to our corporate about it because it was called it originally. So he has it. He's looking at it.
And then how are you guys thinking about timeline-wise? You're launching this new Central California facility, transitioning some of our warehouse system setup. I wanted to know if you guys are going to apply
work. Because, with the plans, like the plans for our facility, if we move everything over to the bistro, that will take extra permitting that, of course, like I don't want to displace people immediately, right? So I don't want to move too fast because I'm going to have to figure out if there's other paths for, our own team, to transition to other groups. I need to kind of figure that out. I think probably at best for maybe our transition, but it's just a lot of logistics to figure out. I want to make sure that I feel like 90% good about the transition process and how our relationship will, kind of move forward. Communication is like one of the biggest, like biggest priority. Have the same constant communication about and just kind of get everybody to feel comfortable around it. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I think that if you want to think if you think that you would be able to house like a recording open, like that's probably the most ideal. But what would you need to know to ensure that you can, that you can have it?
I'm generally confident that we will be able to at this point because we have significant extra capacity, but kind of a quick rundown of capacity types of revenue helpful. Just our recommendation is that you have maximum 4 weeks of inventory at our facilities, but in reality that turns out to be sometimes 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Generally we're thinking about it, but that would give us an approximate idea of how much we're still. And also, if you can let us know what kind of weekly pickups and how many pallets those pickups will take up.
With the pickups, do they have to be assembled a certain way? Like you just mentioned pallet, do we have to palletize the deliveries?
It's not required, but for a brand your size, I think it would be this speed up or take off your athlete, just because we can accommodate whatever packaging that you guys have, but it have and we can provide the guidelines. We have an intake guideline of how we would ideally like to receive the products. There are minimum requirements in this case. If products are not labeled correctly, then we would not accommodate the pickup, but there's some flexibility.
Okay. And we have like daily production because we do on-site production. Do we have the ability, if you do weekly pickups, do we have the ability to either schedule multiple pickups in a week, or would we have the ability to deliver multiple times in a week?
So as part of our contract, we're given once a week pickup free of charge. You can request additional pickups, but that comes at a cost that we believe is pretty significant. We do also allow up to 2 drop-offs a month free of charge, so you guys can deliver it to our facility. And if you wanted to make that a weekly drop-off in addition to a weekly pickup, I'm sure we can have a discussion.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Sounds good. There's a lot of data to process, so it's a really good stuffing point right now.
Only because you mentioned transition around your existing employees and staff. We have done this sort of transition many times just this year, and a lot of times we are more than happy to interview and potentially consider candidates from your site that with those skills, especially drivers, we're always in search for those. Let us know. And
that would be great. Because the fleet team is, team that I'm kind of a little bit concerned about. And we would, of course, keep, at least half of the fleet, but for all of our other, transportation needs. So that's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds great. Anything else you need from us?
So Lisa, I'm going to send you over our master case guidelines that Jude was mentioning. So it's less about palette configurations. It's more about how labeling works for us.
Sure.
That way we understand what's in the product. And then I'll also, in that same email, you mentioned maybe meeting again next week. I can help coordinate schedules for all teams and find a time for all of us next week as well.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be great. And do you require all the case packs to be in branded case packs? Because some of our products are just in generic case packs.
It's up to you how you want to put it in.
Okay. Right. Okay. Sounds good. Perfect. All right. Sounds good. Jake, Adam, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Nope, no questions for me.
Great. Okay.
I'll respond to it later. Bye.
Okay. Sounds good. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Go, Harrison. Do you want to give a quick update on what we've got in terms of reporting? Because I know that was a pretty big item that folks were working on. And then I've got some comments on the flow. If you want to go ahead and get us started, Harrison.
Yeah. So I appreciate everybody pulling in the Google Sheet landfill there, trying to get all of our Google Sheets just listed in one place. I have seen that we're starting to get some mixed Acumatica reports in there as well, which is not really something I think I intended when we were discussing this. It was really supposed to just be Google Sheets, but I don't think that's bad at all. I think we can just separate it out onto another tab or just find some way of just making sure that we know what's what on there. But that's great because, I mean, these are major data sources, right? So we want to see if we can get it all in one place. But I'm just excited at the prospect of being able to see what functions we still have in spreadsheets, what potential there is for consolidation, and further just kind of like fine-tuning how we do this. You know, if there's redundant data entry somewhere, we don't want to be wasting time doing that. And so I definitely think there's going to be big potential for that, of just getting rid of things, combining things, and streamlining a lot. So everybody who's contributed to that, thank you very much. I don't know what we are missing, though. So for everyone on the call, I'll reiterate the request again, which was basically give me your top 3 to 5 Google Sheets that you use every day and fill out that inventory reporting directory with that, just so everybody else in this group knows where you work on a daily basis, right? So I think we should, put these all into folders at some place, but it doesn't really matter if they're all shared right now. As long as we have a central place to get to them, that should suffice for the time being. So if you haven't done that, if you see anything that's missing that is in your top, let's call it 3 to 5, that you are using every day, every other day, things that you use a lot, that's what we want in there. And if you have an Acumatica data source that you use a lot, you can fill that out just like Kelsey and Jess did for those entries, and maybe we'll separate those out onto another tab and have Google Sheets in one, Acumatica reports on the other. So I think that's going well. And we just need to start scoping what functions are in those things and either looking at rebuilds or how we would deprecate those, long term. So that's great. One other update, which I guess I'm going to be sitting out a written summary of this, but Cyrus and Lee brought this to my attention. Basically, this morning, and Cyrus, you can go into the details on this, but we were able to save about 150 grand on taxes just by tracking batches. And there's nothing more fundamental than that. Like, this is not complex data that we're dealing with. Just knowing where things are, where they originate, is enough for me, Cyrus, to reallocate this and save us money on taxes. So, good metric use saves money. That's the bottom line. So, thanks for everybody. I really do appreciate the attention that these are.
Yeah,
and Just Lay helped out on that by providing, and the inventory team, Sarah, turning through all those transactions that we needed. There's a lot of people that deserve props on this topic, so if I don't mention you, I apologize, but yeah, so getting money back just because we were able to track down what was destroyed, where it came from, and the time period that the transfer occurred, and that was how we're able to claim cultivation tax refund for material that did not enter the commercial market, enter retail.
Wow, I mean, $150,000 is an incredible amount, so that's great news. Is there any opportunity, I don't know any detail around it, but is there any opportunity for us to go historically and take what we learned from this experience and claim a refund or a credit to the state?
I think this is kind of what that is based on what Cyrus is describing, right? Because we're going back and destroying things and saying, like, if something came out of the origin batch, and we say it never made its distribution, we don't have to give a tax on it. Is that right, Cyrus?
Well, it made it to distribution, but it didn't make it to retail. So expired, moisture loss, lost at LBS, third party. And this was done for 2021, but there might be opportunity for 2020 as well.
Stacking that before 2020.
Right.
So that's going to be we certainly could try, I guess maybe with the metric, I don't know if we still have access to distro records. Potentially. It would be a big lift, but we have to see. I don't know.
And I know that we're counting at LBS, right? Right, Jess?
Yes. We already counted, and I'm compiling some data. I was expecting Karina to have it done yesterday, but we had a meeting right after this, so she had some questions and we're going to go over everything, but there really wasn't much there. And the soft bits are done.
Okay. And I guess same thing there, Cyrus, like you're attuned to it, there could be some. Do we incur the cultivation tax when it goes to LBS?
It gets incurred prior to that. So when it
and then if it gets stolen, then can we reduce our tax liability?
Yes. So we're keeping track of every single lot, so we don't double count, for example.
Okay.
But we're going to be continuing this this exercise on each quarterly filing.
Okay.
So any other future loss, for example, benzene fails that Kelsey was fishing with Dan with WTO from the farm. We have that opportunity too.
Oh, I forgot about that one. So, Kelsey, you gonna break the $150,000 record? Maybe 300?
She already did.
She did?
Well, we're getting money back for just the material.
Yeah. We're getting it back about, I think it was $400,000 worth of materials, plus we were refunded for subcons. We just invoiced them for all the materials associated. And then we haven't decided exactly what to do with the material yet. I believe that we're leaning strongly towards destroying it. And once we do, then we can recoup the taxes on that material as well.
Wow, okay, that's great news. Okay, fantastic.
The accounting team's names in double type font for the email, bumping this number up. Thanks, guys.
Okay, fantastic news. As I was kind of looking through the process flows, thank you, Adam, for putting those together. It became, I think we talked about this a little bit. It seemed like, I'd love to get everyone's take on it, but it seemed like there were two areas of opportunity for us that were apparent. One is management of LSTV, and the other one is managing samples. Those were kind of the two call-outs that I picked up from one, the meeting, and then two, the process flows. Do you all agree with that should be an area of focus for us?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I guess that's really the larger thing is just closing production orders faster, so that we don't have hanging orders in the system, right? That's basically what that results from. Yes.
Well, we split them out every month. I think it's the batches being packed fully, because right now they pack the large trend buds and then they tend to sit and wait until they get to the small trend buds. But I think Emiliano was starting maybe something in that regard. I think it has something to do with the machine, right?
Yeah, well, we have hopes to better utilize all the weight that comes through Morrison Creek. So even after the 8s are packed, it's working with Jess to compile a list of every bag of shake that we have and the weight and see how to best utilize it. Whether we pack it into quarters, pack it into grams for samples. Who knows, maybe there's some opportunities for pre-rolls. It's just kind of exploring what we can do with it.
We also started, after assembling the 8s, we started changing the tag from large trim buds to small trim buds, so you will see that in the system now. And I did speak with Lisa earlier today, and she said that she would like anything that's like older than March to combine the strains, like strains together, and we'll send it all to Liquid. So I'm going to start that probably Monday.
Oh, wow, great, okay.
I put together an aged report. It's not quite ready yet, but I will send that out whenever it's done, and then it will show everything that's happened.
One thing, Jess, on that might help us just from pure traceability standpoint is letting them combine the metric tags so that when it leaves, like think about we'll combine these and they'll all have like they'll be associated with multiple harvest batches, right? You've got 3 harvests of Area 41, you combine them all. It's not that confusing, but it creates a compound batch, which I think we're still trying to deal with on the data side of things. But if we just transfer them out and tell them you can combine any like strains, is that possible just to reduce the complexity in our system? And then we'll receive back whatever they receive back as.
I'm not sure if it's an option for them. Jesse, do you know by chance with Leaflets if they would take it just to transfer tags over and they combine them instead of us production batching and combining?
They can, but it's just a lot of extra work.
It is.
In my process would be to combine all that. Like if it was just, a couple strains combined together, but
I know, it's a lot. It takes me a while to do that.
Like finally got my good tag.
If not more than that. And then,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a well-placed trust. But it would definitely be easier for me if I could just transfer them.
Cool.
Maybe outsmart them.
Thanks, y'all.
So, does it make sense to document what that process will be for the LSTV?
Yes.
That was one of our stars, right? One of our kind of side projects.
Yeah, right. So who would like to volunteer to do that, and when do you think would be a good timing for it to be finished? Sounds like you guys are still doing some investigative work.
Yes, we still are.
I'd be happy to take a crack at it. I just don't know exactly who's handling moving that product around. I actually talked with E a little bit about it yesterday. So like that LSTV is both smalls and shake together. The smalls we're trying to reduce just by getting more of that into 8s, but it seems like you're always going to have some left over to go for quarters. But if it's not enough to make a full case of quarters, you shouldn't even bother wasting your time on it, right? Like why make a partial case of quarters of a batch that isn't going to be sold? So, if possible, sifting out those smalls and then keeping that shake there, we could potentially, I don't know what, Harrison, sorry, if you think of this, would it be possible to re-tag that shake as wheat as a lower tax category? And then use that for pre-rolls or cured carts with hope?
from the traceability standpoint, I don't care about things. That's I guess I don't want to discourage people from retagging and combining things just to make reporting the data easier. It's just a balance of trying to keep the batch history as straightforward as possible so that we don't lose track of it. But all of our shake, Ian, Weir, and I both assume we would inevitably have compound hash. It doesn't matter. So go ahead and do that. Because it's basically at the end of the line, right? So it's the last bit. But as far as retagging it to a different tax category, that is, I'm not sure, because it's pulverized. I guess they probably wouldn't care. But I don't know if they have to come out and observe it to see that it's pulverized.
Yeah, I mean, there's always some on every batch. That's the thing. It's like we have touched this stuff physically and done something to it, and a byproduct of that process is a little bit of leaf. And it's so I kind of see it the same way that trimming happens in cultivation. You know, you're doing something to the nuts, you generate a little bit of byproduct. It's not nut flour anymore, but it still has value. Has high THC content for sure.
Does shake have its own category?
It does.
Yeah,
The only thing with doing that is if you're creating an FGI product out of it, you need to have it in a tax category that applies to FGI. So, like, for example, you can't take like large trim buds and turn it into shake and then sell it as, you know, an FGI product, I don't think. Or it's a different tax category. But once you move it back from large trim to shake, you can't move it back to large trim. Weird compliance thing. Yeah, I don't know exactly.
We should look into exactly how that works, but I know that in the past we couldn't have things like that for shake because of creating FGI out of it and selling it.
Even if it goes on to, like, say, an extractor or a pre-roll manufacturer, we're not going to make an FGI and force create out of it. But
I think for extraction purposes, you're creating you're using that type of material anyway. But if you're creating a pre-roll, you're selling that directly to the retail market. So I just don't know. It would be something I think that we should make sure that we understand the tax implications before we decide to do that.
I have to look up there's a leaf category in distro-metric, isn't there? I mean,
Yes. I mean, some manufacturers have to for a license. They got thousands.
well, yeah, I guess there.
Whether they're gonna, it would bring in tackles at the ACC if we were converting the wrong way, or just converting in a way that we're supposed to, didn't tell them to that's a different story. So as we can say right now, it's something we can't combine, but the going back and like combining the tax into tax, so we cannot. We need to figure out what the tax implications are so that we can do that without getting anybody angry at us, basically. We're having these.
As long as we can production batch these, as long as it's going into pre-rolls, that's something that is compliantly allowed.
Okay.
So is that the path that LSTV will be taking right now, currently? Like, if we are to draft up this process, it's
Yes.
make a case, if possible, of smalls, quarter smalls, right? But if there's not enough, or whatever's left over after one case or two cases, however many whole cases we can get, we then put the rest into pre-rolls, right?
That's where the only way I've seen it go. I always have to wait for Lisa to make the call, of course, but I've never seen any different call other than send it to Leafless without there being right.
Okay. And who's running that right now? I know there's a lot of LSTV waiting to move.
In the past, we've been chiefly half-ounce shakes, chiefly small.
So we have a lot right now, and it's about to expire. I want to say, like, actually, I just complete. I need to look, but I'm pretty sure I did see the FTI. Like a bunch of pre-rolls that I think it's like a month away from expiring.
And then we should make sure that we're not going to put money into it.
Right,
To sell it.
So Kyle, you'll diagram the process out and work with Jess and the other production crew members that are going to be handling this.
Absolutely.
I mean, our other option potentially for it is if we do decide that it's not financially possible to sell pre-rolls made from shake, you could turn it into some sort of concentrate. Should be a higher potency concentrate if we have any usage
for that, but it's another option.
I have pre-roll singles that are cheaply that we have like almost like 3,700 eaches, and they're 10 months old.
You'd have them where?
They're at distro.
Shouldn't we just write them off?
Possibly.
That gives us more tax savings based on the methodology we were discussing earlier, right? If it never makes it to retail.
Yeah, I would do that, but I just think we've got to get to a point where when we know it's 10 months old, I don't think we really want that going into the market because I don't think the quality would be great. And it's just sitting around in the young space. One more thing on the track. Okay. Cyrus, are you aware of this item?
Not specifically.
Okay.
I have seen that on the listing, but it just wasn't on the top, on one of the top 3.
Okay, cool.
I think that if before we send all of this old material to leaflets, we should probably make sure that the quality is good enough that we could sell it, and otherwise think about concentrates or writing it off. I mean, but once we start finding a consistent path for the LSTB, it will create a fresher product. So, and if we can move that quickly through retail or whatever channel we want to go through, at least we're not going to have, the consumers will be getting a better product in the end, and hopefully it won't be something that they'll say, oh, this is garbage, we don't want to buy it,
So I do believe there are some batches from 2020 in there. I'm still sorting through it, but I'll be able to tell here by the end of the day. I'll send the report.
And that's sativa. Those sativa pre-rolls were made from very old material, as far as I remember. Isn't that right? I mean, it was a combination of some really old stuff. So I'm honestly not surprised that they didn't continue to sell.
Yeah, I don't believe that we've really moved very many of those. Honestly. I don't think I have either.
We need to write off a bunch of
I do think creating a usage timeline would be good.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Can the usage timeline just be part of the process? Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, I'll add that into the diagram as well. Just let us know what time frame we're thinking.
Okay. And anything that's medium, I guess we should say is maybe not connected to Alien Labs quality, but can still be sent out to other pre-rolls. Do we have an option to put it into, say, like B-sides or highlights type brands? And we could get some of that back on before writing it off, or no?
So you mean LSTV that is not? Yeah, I guess we wouldn't end up with I think because B-sides and everything else, those are packaged at third parties, right? So the LSTV that we have at Morrison Creek is all stuff from Alien Labs and Connected Branding.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I would assume they have LSTV at any third party who does package the B-sides and Misfits and so on.
B-sides and Misfits have a little bit of a different packaging cadence because it's B-sides and Misfits, and it's a lower tier for us.
Right.
So their bandwidth to package that is a little greater. So it's not, we're not like just throwing a bunch of crap in it, but our bulk should be no more than C-nugs. We don't generally pack in our LTB like anything smaller than C's, so all of that goes into the FGI. I believe. Jesse, can you confirm that? But I'm pretty sure I set that cadence up to 12 nugs or something like that.
Yeah. So for B-sides and Misfits, they can allow 10, 12 nugs
Right.
bags. So because of that, and with the smaller sizes, regular weights, so we would have to get a much bigger weights per pound with not a lot of actual copy implementation.
But I think to look at that, and I was talking to Jess a little bit about this morning. So we're instead of packaging all of, going back and packaging some of the aged weight that we have in LSTB, what we're going to do is merge tags together in, by strain. And then we're going to send all this material out for pre-rolls, so we can get out all the aged inventory. Moving forward, speaking to talking to Emiliano about this, the goal is to ensure that all the LSTD is packaged the same day as that batch is packed as eight. So if we're packing eights of a certain batch, then that will get finished off at some point during that day as quarters or grams, so that I would say the greater part of 95% of that batch is already consumed, and then any shake left over, we will go ahead and merge. That's unpackable, and we'll probably merge it and end up using it for pre-rolls. I think that is kind of the best avenue to ensure that all of bulk biomass is consumed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we want to just call this one of the little stars, the LSTB post-processing procedure, or LSTB production pathways, something like that we can refer this back to and link it in, and just as a an arrow off our diagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Lisa, I just have a question. This is Kelsey. For the pre-rolls that we're creating, do you think that those are something that will push through retail easily? Or I know that we were just talking about how we have a little over 3,000 other cheaply pre-rolls still sitting that are about to expire. I just want to make sure that if we're going to put the money into creating the pre-rolls, that we are going to be able to sell them. Otherwise, we could potentially think about other avenues, like putting it into a concentrate or even writing it off and recouping the cultivation tax.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
Concentrate would probably not be the right way to go unless we're going to be extracting concentrates for the purpose of infused pre-rolls. I'm not aware of cheaply pre-rolls expiring, but I can look into that because I believe they just came in a few months ago. Definitely we should look into that if they are expiring. I think for the fact of just regular pre-rolls, for Alien Connected, I believe that as long as we control the flow of the full flower pre-rolls, and then as we roll out our additional SKUs, I think that we won't run into an issue of basically sitting on it or having it aged while in inventory. The whole purpose would be probably to accurately forecast out to ensure that we are, doing our best to keep the freshest product on deck. Right. I know that I recently approved, some STD to get sold as bulk only because